107.2 out to lunch, WRMN. My name is Dennis Sonar Green, and I will be taking you through the next hour right here on 1410. That's 1410 AM for all you cool cats and kittens out there that love the AM airwaves. But if you prefer to do more of the digital thing, you can go ahead and go to WRMN1410.com. The benefit of going there is you get to see all my friends as well. Thanks for going live, team. Appreciate that as well. That's right, we are live on a few different places. Live on the stream, so you can listen to the audio. Just tell your smart speaker. They know all about us. The other thing that we're live on is, of course, YouTube, so you can see us. What? Television, radio, newfangled thing out there. Hey, let's go into my two special guests that are in studio with me right now. That's right. We are still in for-profit season right now. I've got writer, director, Superman of the film, Mark Iverson, with me.
Hello, hello.
Thank you, sir, for being here with me as well. And we've got somebody new voices. Met him on Friday when we saw the movie together. That, of course, is Cal Marshall. Thank you very much for being here, sir.
Thanks for having me.
So, how are you guys riding this this premiere, this opening as it's coming through? Lots of different experiences is coming for it, because everybody gets to kind of celebrate and then come back together for another one, and then go out and celebrate and come back. So what has been the mood for everything? How has the world accepted the Prophet?
It's been great. They've been loving For Profit. I was in Charleston holding down the fort there on in the Carolinas with a lot of family and friends and fans, and we had a packed house on Friday night for the opening. It was great. I had friends driving out from Charlotte and other places in South Carolina, driving hours and hours to come out for the premiere. It's really, really fantastic. Great opening weekend. Went to a bunch of screenings, met a bunch of fans. In fact, I was quick, really funny story.
Yeah.
Saturday night, went out to a screening with a couple of friends who came in town. We had a pretty good crowd out. A lot of people had seen me on the local news in Charleston. I went on two different stations there. I went on the Fox News Charleston. I also went on Live 5 News, and we had got some fans out. It was great. People came up to me like, "Oh, I saw you in the news. Can you sign my receipt?" And it was great. That was fun. And then one of the couples, we were talking after with them, getting some pictures and stuff like that. And I asked them their name, and the man was like, "Oh, my name is Alan." And I said, "Well, that's my father's name, and he's one of the executive producers on the film. Isn't that incredible?" Mm-hmm. And he said, "Oh, that's so funny. That's great." And I turned to his wife, and I asked what her name was. Well, her name was Wanda, and that is my mother's name as well. Total God thing, total spirit thing, just unbelievable. A random couple in Charleston coming out Saturday night to the screening of For Profit, whose names were the exact same names as the executive producers of the film.
Your parents were there in spirit and in name.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And it's a story my dad is going to tell till his grave. He loves it. I told him that he couldn't get enough of it. It's one of those moments where you're like, you know what? There's something going on here. Mm-hmm. There's a synergy happening. And so, yeah, I had a great time in Charleston, and then I just flew back yesterday morning for a special screening at River East downtown, and did a Q&A, which was fantastic. It's been a great opening weekend.
Yeah, I really liked the Friday. Had a great Q&A with everybody down there, with Dennis, with the cinematographers, with the editors. It was a really great time. It's still playing in River East. Mm-hmm. Wonderful seating down there as well. And the talk about names as well, a new name here on the station is Cal Marshall. Thank you very much for being here, sir. And how do you connect with For Profit? I heard you are a man of a Renaissance man about town, and have connected. I believe something to do with makeup or something like that.
Yeah. So actually, I was connected to For Profit through makeup and hair. The beauty aspect of the movie, which is something that I focused on primarily, which was amazing. I got to work with some great talents, Takia Crystal Kima, the late Burt Belasco. And so we were able to really bond and forge some really great friendships as well as great relationships. So for Profit came through with me with makeup. I actually live in Los Angeles. So I got a call and I was like, hey, could you come down to Chicago and please do some makeup? And the funny part is, For Profit was one that I will never forget this movie, not just because of the message of it or what I've done for it. And I don't even know if Mark even knows this or not, but the reason that I actually took the job was not even because I wanted the job.
Okay.
Oh.
I took the job because my father was dying from pancreatic cancer, and they gave him 2 weeks to live. And they told me that this movie would take me to Chicago for 2 weeks. And I said, all right. And my dad lived for 1.5 years, actually. But the crazy part was about 4 months, I think 3 or 4 months we were in the movie going back and forth. Or I was here for like 2 or 3 months during that time. That allowed me the time to be with my father for the extended time he got from God. Wow. So
Amen.
For Profit gave me time that I didn't have with my father, who actually, it was the last moments I had with him. So when I saw the movie, I got to go back and put me back into that place of, it was such a godsend just to even be connected to someone who had a vision to do something in Illinois, because living in Los Angeles, there are all types of people producing movies and TV shows, but to see the script, I was like, okay, it's about God. It's back in my hometown of Chicago. I was like, let's go ahead and just see. You get to be with your dad for a couple of bit, let's see what happens. And it was one of the most amazing things. So I am connected to the movie, not just by makeup, but by life and by the journey that I have been on. And Mark and For Profit and my For Profit family will forever be, integral to my journey.
Mark, and we've talked about that before, about how so many different stories came together to make this.
Yeah.
And you talk about the serendipity of your parents' names being there, but this movie has more than just coincidence around it. Think about the person that you took the longest route to bring into. Does that person come into mind? Of this person that I'm so glad that they showed up at this time, because we all needed coffee and this person showed up with Dunkin' Donuts out of nowhere and was just like, this is it. This is the person that God sent.
Well, there were a lot of moments like that. A lot of people that came into the production that were just keystones, that just came at the right time. I mean, I would say that Burt Belasco, certainly, I pursued another actor for that role, and actually that role of the DJ was written as an older man to start. And the story, even in the movie, of that character's daughter was a granddaughter originally. It was an older DJ guy who we were pursuing another actor. I'd known, had a good relationship with a manager who knew an actor who's very well known and a character actor for 40 years, and I pursued that actor first.
Okay.
They passed. It was not enough money for them, and rightfully so. We just our budget was usually what they would probably make on a film. So I thought maybe they might do a solid, but that's okay. So when they passed, we're like, all right, what are we gonna do? And then Enrico Natali, really good friends with Burt Belasco, reached out to me and said, hey, okay, you know what? If we rewrite the role a little bit, my incredibly talented friend who's been in all these shows, who's an absolute amazing actor, he could crush it. I could talk to him. We just got to tweak the character a little bit. And that's what we did. And then Burt came onto the film, which was an absolute godsend. His role is pivotal. He has inarguably the best scene in the movie. And of course, now we've lost him to heaven, but it's something where I'm just thankful every single day that he came onto the film. And when we needed him the most, because like I said, we had to rewrite it to make it work for him, and it all worked out great. And then he loved the script. He was a man of big faith as well. And he was great to work with, as Cal can attest to. He was just such a charismatic man, such a talent. And him coming onto the film was one of those moments for sure. The other one I would say would be Eddie Jemison, who who plays the mayor, who's absolutely hilarious and is inarguably probably the most well-known face of the actors in the film, because people always say, I know that guy. I know that guy. I'm like, yes, you do. You've seen the Ocean's 11 movies. You know that guy.
That's it.
Yeah, and he's been on Broadway. He's been in tons of shows. He had a big stint on Chicago Med. I don't know if you knew that, but he also was a godsend because I was pursuing, again, another actor. I know a guy, really great actor who's been in lots of TV shows. I have a personal relationship with him, and I reached out to him and offered him the role first. And he had certainly over the years said, please let me know. I love your work. I would like to work with you. Didn't work out for scheduling conflicts or with a scheduling conflict. So, but we didn't hear from him for a while. He's really bad with email, so he didn't get back to us for a while. So we had only a few weeks before the shoot to figure out who's going to play the mayor, and that was always a role we wanted somebody a little bit more known. It was only going to be 4 days, so we could schedule him really well, and we wanted somebody who was a little bit more well known. And so again, Enrico was like, all right, I worked with Eddie Jemison before. He's fantastic. You know him from this, that, and the other. Let's reach out. So we reached out. He liked the script. We talked, all this stuff. And then the real godsend was that his agents were like, the money is not there at all. Like, you guys are super low budget. You do not have the money that he deserves. And we're like, you're right. We don't have the money he deserves, but this is what we got. And Eddie, to his testimony, was like, I'll do it. He went against his agent's advice and said, no. I know this producer. I like this role. I'm going to do it. It's just 4 days. I think it'll be fun. Let's go. And that doesn't happen. Actors always listen, as maybe they should, to their agents. And he said, no, it's okay. I realize this isn't going to be the biggest payday, but we did certainly, make it worth his while. And he was another godsend, another one of those moments that just clicked right in, and so thankful.
Absolute godsend and beauty, as you said, Cal, came together with a lot of the visual and the storytelling with the story. And in that, makeup is part of that story. Makeup distinguishes a mugger from an angel. Like, the two incredible contrasts that you had in this, when the mugger that you can absolutely tell is on hard times and is just like, oh my goodness, we can't pin what he's on, but it's like, it's something, right? He's a little too wet to not be on something.
Right, exactly.
Or at least somebody's throwing water balloons down the street. So explain that process of saying, okay, this person needs to be shimmering and this person needs to be accentuated from their eyes or drawn in a certain way, versus a person that needs to be, okay, this person needs to be a regular person. How do I make them glamorous, but not how do we get movie glamorous, but not all the way over the top?
Well, I would say that it comes with a backstory. When you are given a script that has an amazing cast and you can see the people, you can visualize them. And I think that within our own mental constructs of who we are as people, as a community, as a society, we usually have ideas of what we see people to be. If you look at someone who's successful, you may think that they might have, brighter teeth. They may have, better skin. They may have better nails. You see someone who's working an average job or not even an average job, because nothing's average, but no one's average. But when you see someone who's working more of a labor-oriented job, they may have shorter nails because they can't have long nails because they may break them. They may have, they may not be concerned if they have great white teeth, as long as they have good teeth in their head that can eat. They're good, So it all depends. And when you look at the story that you're given, like within For Profit, we had Takia Crystal Kima, who was the wealthy wife of a doctor who was doing fundraisers. So this woman, of course, is going to be a woman of means who does things differently. And one of the cultural things that we actually had to combat within that was the fact that Takia is a very, very, very big supporter, and she's a very big activist for natural hair. So within our script, a lot of times when you see women of color, unfortunately, who are in positions on film, they usually have straight hair and it's completely, processed, and it's just, gorgeous wig, and it's just beautiful. The unfortunate thing is Takia was like, wait, that's not real.
Yeah.
She's like, there are women who look like me who have normal natural hair, and I should be able to have more than just an afro, but I should be able to have different looks. And I said, you know what? You are correct, because we don't have to do wigs. We don't have to do wigs or even add hair. We can create natural looks with your natural hair texture to really bring out the person who you should be.
When we first see her in the courtroom scene, I think that's the first time that we actually see her face to face. Her hair is up and it's beautiful. It's got ribbons in it. How did you guys come together to accentuate that and not make it like, oh my gosh, this is somebody's hair? Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes people have hairstyles where they're like, I want to show it off, but I don't want to be the center of attention, because the scene is more about the community that's aspect, but we're still bringing attention to her. Or even in the wardrobe, we've got a brighter blue dress or pantsuit. I think we didn't see most of it, but combining that all together to still be powerful, but not so braggadocious for everything.
Well, you know, for her, that actual scene that she's introduced in, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a minute, so Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but she had just came from work to go to that court scene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so when you think about, like, for her, she's coming from work, she's going directly into court, it's an emergency hearing. A person who's in that type of capacity, they don't necessarily have the time to go home and redo their hair and put on a fabulous gown or a fabulous outfit to come into court and be, you know, posh spice. They have no time to go from their home. Let me just go ahead and get this together. And most people in their everyday life would probably have their hair pinned up, coiffed up, something like that, because they don't want to have anything on their neck. It's a simple, for me, it was like, a woman's not going to have.
It's practical.
So it's like, let's keep it practical and keep it normal, keep it natural, because that's what people can relate to. And like you say in the film, when you saw the beauty, it wasn't over glammed. It wasn't trying to make it into, you know, some creature that came from the, you know, planet of Glamwood. It was a woman who could be any woman who could be going through this, because the storyline of a prophet can be anyone. Yeah. And that's what the whole sense for me as an artist in that aspect was, to make sure everyone could be.
Mark, before we go to break, reiterate your drive for inclusion into this. We've talked about it before, and nowhere even in the dialogue is anybody even saying, no, you don't belong here. Right. Even in the whole movie, regardless of what it is, it's always inclusion. It's always, yes, bring in, yes, this is the story. Yeah. And how was that for both cast and crew, putting that together?
Yeah, it was something that we always wanted, even in the script form. But then in casting and putting the crew together, like Cal said, I think that the film resonates with people because they can put themselves in almost all the characters.
Because you've got believers and non-believers even as a mix.
Right, certainly. Yeah, there are people struggling with their faith. There are people who have strong faith. There are people who will never come to faith in the movie. It's eclectic, and it's Americana. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I really wanted For Profit to be a microcosm of America right now. And we wanted to have, the diversity in the cast. We wanted to have diversity of thought in the roles. We wanted to have diversity of opinions, diversity of faith, all of these things. And we wanted to be a slice of America, and that people can look at and say, oh, I feel like I understand Damon's story because I feel like that's what's going on in my town. I feel like the community's crumbling. That's the thing, community is so important, especially when you're talking about, building a life together. Something that one of the reasons why we shot in Elgin was because I feel like Elgin itself has such a great community, and the community came out to help the crew, the cast, the businesses, the government, the city council,
the extras,
the great extras, the radio station, the community came out, and the struggle in the movie is that the community is suffering because the funds are not there for the shelter, and the mental health facility had been closed, and people are leaving the town, and the community is not coming together, and that's the story. And so we wanted to make sure through the cast, through the crew, that we were able to tell that story of rebuilding a community. And in order to do that, you got to have the diversity within the community. You got to show everybody's thought patterns, everybody's backgrounds. And like what Cal was saying with Takia, Takia bringing her amazing talent, but also her advocacy for natural hair was a great touch. Like when she brought that up, so what do you think? Should we do natural or not? I'm like, well, what do you think? She's like, I want natural, of course. And I'm like, great. And then I turned to Cal. I'm like, you got this, right? He's like, I got this.
Go.
And so he was her, like, pretty much her go-to assistant for like the entire shoot, like her right-hand man, helping her out to make sure that she was looking good, because natural hair was something, like he said, that she's an advocate for, but it also was something where, I think that showcases a really interesting touch for the character, and that it shows a diversity within the community of everybody, and the different types of people and the different backgrounds that can be shown in a community. And in the story, the community is crumbling, and we just really wanted to make sure and showcase that is unfortunately the case across the country. A lot of communities are not as strong as they used to be. We need to reignite community, reignite faith communities, non-faith communities, cities, all of these types of communities that people have. I think people are getting pulled away because of digital technology. I think people are getting pulled away with politics. Things are, within families, people are getting divided over all kinds of issues. And I think this is not the time to allow the crumbling to happen. I think this is the time to reignite the bonds that we have had for so long in this country. And I really think that was an absolute choice that I made going into this movie, that I wanted to make sure to tell that story of reigniting community.
That's the attention to detail, and that is the message and drive behind the movie For Profit. ForProfitFilm.com in theaters right now. Go there. ForProfitFilm.com. South Barrington, River East. We've got Carpentersville, Lake of the Hills, the Marcus Cinema, even down here in Elgin. Join us right after this commercial break to talk with the fellows a little bit more about why Elgin and how are some of the other places in the world responding to what Elgin looks like. WRMN, out to lunch. Be right back after this.
Attention Fox River Valley. In response to listener input, WRMN AM 1410 is bringing back the live radio shopping show to your Saturday mornings. Join us from 8 a.m. to noon every Saturday starting June 29th for incredible deals and unbeatable savings. And that's not all. Our Redemption Center will now be open only on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So mark your calendars and get ready for Saturday morning shopping sprees with WRMN AM 1410, your station for great savings and local fun.
Adrenaline Monkey is located inside the Life Zone 360 building on Route 72 in West Dundee. Release your inner wild child at Adrenaline Monkey. It's the area's highest octane indoor adventure center. Perfect for the whole family, too. Adventurers of all ages can try Ninja Warrior obstacles, rock climbing, vertical adventures, and aerial course. Adrenaline Monkey can also host your organization's team building programs. Half-day and full-day sessions are available. Visit adrenalinemonkeyfun.com/WD.
Bender Dental Care, located at 217 North McLean Boulevard in Elgin. Bender Dental wants everyone to be informed, appreciated, and cared for at all times. To prove it, they now offer a new patient exam for just $29. That includes consult, x-ray, exam, and cleaning. Let Bender Dental help you have healthy teeth and gums for a lifetime. Located at 217 North McLean Boulevard in Elgin. Visit BenderDentalCare.com.
The weather is getting better, and we know it's the time when ladders and DIYers come out. Before you start any new outdoor projects, ComEd wants you to know that electricity can jump from a power line to you and the tools you're using. So maintain a safe distance from any power lines. You can also call ComEd at 1-800-EDISON-1 to have those power lines de-energized the next time you do any type of work around them. Stay smart, stay safe, stay back. ComEd, powering lives.
Hey there, this is Marky B from The First Shift, inviting you to join Brian Anderson for his new radio show, Kane County Speaks, every Thursday from 9 until 10 a.m. during the final hour of my morning show. It's an election year, and Brian will discuss important local issues and interview local candidates from the perspective of Kane County Speaks. The show will feature open phone lines for your thoughts, comments, and questions, and the chat room will be open at WRMN Radio on YouTube. Kane County Speaks is citizen-driven and focused on making Kane County a better place to live and work with goals of freedom, security, and prosperity for all. To learn more about their grassroots organization, you can check them out at KaneCountySpeaks.com. Let's discuss the issues of Kane County so that you can get involved and make a difference too. It's Kane County Speaks every Thursday morning with Brian Anderson from 9 until 10 a.m. during the first shift right here on WRMN, AM 1410, and at WRMN Radio on YouTube.
Beef Villa's 3 locations offer much more than their signature Italian beef. Try the Italian sausage, roasted chicken, and more. There's a big variety of delicious side dishes. Beef Villa uses quality ingredients from homemade recipes, and they purchase top-of-the-quality food products from their vendors to bring you the absolute best tasting of foods. Beef Villa's great service and quality are waiting for you, but you won't be waiting long because it's always hot and fresh. Visit beefvilla.com.
Beef Villa is a family-owned restaurant that has been in business for over 50 years. With homemade recipes made with quality ingredients, Beef Villa's great service and quality is served hot and fast. For the menu, catering locations, or for an application to join the Beef Villa team, visit beefvilla.com. Saturdays mean cruise nights, weather permitting, on Spring Street in South Elgin. Visit beefvilla.com.
Welcome back to WRMN. You're listening to Out to Lunch. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. I've got a few amazing people here in studio with me today. Accomplishers, people that get things done. Get some motivation from these people because I'm telling you right now, it's paying off. I saw the movie. I saw how great it was. You need to see how great it was. What movie am I talking about? That's right. For Profit. That's with a PH, not an F. I guess there's one at the beginning. But forprofitfilm.com is where you can go. Find those theaters that are around you. And since you're listening online, of course, well, AM dial, sure, you can go and find it on the internet as well. But since you're listening on the internet, did you know that it's in multiple states? Mark, how many places, how many theaters did you manage to nail down with this first round?
We are in 11 theaters across the country. So certainly, a select cinemas release, limited release, but we are in Phoenix, right outside Phoenix, in Mesa, Arizona, there at the Harkins Superstition 25. We are in Los Angeles, in the Glendale Theater, the AMC Americana at the Brand, a beautiful, beautiful theater there. We are at the AMC Ontario in the Inland Empire, Ontario, California. We are in Charleston, 2 theaters in Charleston, the Citadel Stadium Mall Theater in West Ashley, right outside Charleston. And then in North Charleston, we're at the Northwood Stadium Cinema as well. And then we also got a theater right outside Knoxville, Tennessee, called Governor's Crossing.
Wow.
And then, of course, Chicagoland. So we are downtown Chicago at the River East, AMC River East, beautiful theater there. We had 2 special screenings over the weekend, and Sonar was so wonderful to moderate the Q&A on Friday night. And then Dino, one of the other co-owners here at WRMN, he moderated on Sunday, which is amazing. And then we also have, obviously, all the burbs. We got the burbs here. We got the Elgin Marcus, we got AMC Lake in the Hills, we got the Carpentersville Classic Cinemas, we have AMC South Barrington. I think that might be
I think you nailed everybody.
Gambit.
You've got all of them memorized now.
I know too much. I know too much.
That sounds like a road trip game almost. Like, hey, I'm coming back to Chicago, so let's see. But here, yes, around us here, I had the privilege of watching it first time at the Marcus Cinema here in Elgin. Wonderful theater, great comfy seats on that side. Tickets are still available there. I heard you guys sold out the Barrington Theater at least 2 nights.
Yeah.
I think there was at least 2 nights on that. People were getting turned away at the door. No, I'm saying.
Well, we had sold so many in the pre-sales that they added a bunch more theaters.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep. The River East, I was able to see on Friday. That's still showing as well. And you can go to forprofitfilm.com/theaters, and you'll be able to actually purchase and figure out your tickets and schedule right there. You're doing a fantastic job keeping all of us in the loop for that. You can also see the trailer. The trailer is amazing. Don't just take our word for how great this movie is. We may be a little biased, but I think you just watching the trailer, everybody walks away from that with a smile. Everybody I've shown that to has turned around and said, well, that's like that chuckle at the end of it, of just like, because when he closed, like, I don't want. Okay, never mind. I don't want to spill it. I don't want to spill it. You got to watch it. You got to watch that trailer that's over there. You are all over social media. That's on right now, and that is For Profit Film or #For Profit. I think is For Profit Movie. I think is one you've also used before as well. And then we did have one question. Cal was nice enough to ask this question during the break, so I could use it. Hopefully, I win some awards for it, Cal, and I'll share some accolades with you. But Mark, this has been a passion project. We've seen you pour so much of yourself into this. How has this experience and this, let's call it a metamorphosis, how has this changed you as a filmmaker, but also as a man of faith?
Yeah, in so many ways. When you make your first feature film as a filmmaker, you were a man and then you become a boy, or you were a boy and then you become a man. I made 50 short films, 46 episodes of a web series. I've done every kind of filmmaking you can do except a feature film up to this point. And this is now, I have found my voice. I have established myself as a professional feature filmmaker, and I've manned up. I've really manned up, and I really feel it. I feel it in the knowledge I've gained as a professional filmmaker. I feel it in the knowledge I gained as an entrepreneur. I mean, I invested a lot of my own financing into this film, so that was a big learning experience. And I would say that is when it comes to the filmmaking, that's the balance. I think when you go to people who are cinephiles and you want to go to film school and you grow up and you think about just the art of cinema, and that's very important and it's wonderful. It is true that you need to understand the art of cinema, but you need to understand the business too. You really do. If you don't understand the business, then go do something else, because write a novel, paint a picture, take photography, do something that doesn't cost millions of dollars. Because if you want to do something and express yourself honestly with millions of dollars, you're going to have conversations with people and understand the business and pitch to investors and have ROI breakdowns and really understand that this is nuts and bolts, this is dollars and cents. And if you don't want to do it, then find something else that isn't going to cost millions of dollars. Now, I went into this, understanding that I was putting in my own money, that I'm a small business owner, to be frank. I knew that I was going to have a big learning curve. That learning curve was gigantic. I mean, it was something where I went to business school. I came out the other side, and I really do feel, I'm right there every year doing taxes with my tax guy. Like, it's not something where I just sat back and was able to sit on my director's chair and just make some artistic choices. I really got into the weeds of the business and learned so much. And that's really where I think I gained a lot of understanding and knowledge, and it's going to help me moving forward for my next films, which I pray and hope to God that I don't have to finance myself. But but to make your first movie with your own financing is a lot of ways the best way to go, because whether you're Christopher Nolan, whether you're Richard Linklater, Kevin Smith, Spike Lee, as we were talking about before, I think one of the things that you have to understand is that you have to find your voice. And so I made a decision. I said, okay, I need this to be my film, my first feature film cannot be somebody else's film. It cannot be somebody else's voice. It cannot be somebody else's vision. In order to keep it my voice and keep it my vision, I knew I had to invest into it. So I spent 10 years raising the capital, and it came together. As a man of faith, the other part of the question, as a man of faith, I had struggles of faith big time making this movie, not only in pre-production, in production, in post-production, in finding distribution. And maybe in the finding of the distribution is where I really, really struggled the most. You know, we made a film that I think objectively is higher quality than most faith movies. And that was a big goal we had. We went into this saying a lot of faith movies do not have top-tier acting. They do not have top-tier cinematography. They do not have top-tier makeup and hair. You know, every aspect of a lot of faith movies falter in the filmmaking. And that is not what I am. I am a true filmmaker, and I went into this knowing that I had to make a movie first. That said, in doing what I did and making something that was artistic and making something that was a little unique, that had a lot of comedy, which is unheard of in a lot of faith movies, a lot of distributors were like, wow, this is really well done. It's funny. I'm laughing out loud. You have great actors. You got great production value, the cinematography, incredible stuff. We don't know what to do with this. It is unique, and it's your voice, and it's
How do we
fun.
market it?
How do we market? We were literally told. I will. They will go nameless. They will remain nameless. But we were literally told by a very big faith distributor that they don't put God and comedy together. And I was like, well, God made laughter, so I don't know. I think it goes together pretty well. And actually, and when it comes to like pastors, I only listen to pastors that make me laugh. Like I don't like the pastors that are all hell and brimstone. You know, I want to be able to smile and have joy in my life. And I think a film that brings spirituality and faith together, spirituality, faith, and comedy together is what we need right now. But a lot of distributors were not having it, and so it took a minute. And in that, I struggle with my faith. I struggle with my faith as a filmmaker. I struggle with my faith, not in God, but questioning God. Did I make the right choice? Is this really what you want me to do? Because I'm being told by these distributors that I made in a weird way, I made a film that's too good. That's not checking all the boxes that they have for what is a typical, this is a faith film. This is how it is. Put it into this box. And so
Because this is our pipeline that we built.
exactly.
This is it.
Exactly.
We've already built the roads, and your film is out of the box. So
Right.
if it's out of the box, how do we ship it?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. We built the roads. We need you to have a car. And I'm like, well, I made an airplane. It's faster. It's better. It flies over the road. Don't worry about it. They're like, no, but we need a car on the road. It's like, don't just fly over
It's
it.
a destination.
Yeah. Get there faster and easier and safer, actually. But anyway, that was a big struggle. And so now, thank the Lord, we are here. Theatrical distribution. We have our VOD distribution coming down the road not too long in the future either. And we have it all set up. And it's something where it took a minute, but we finally got the distribution we deserved, and that the film deserved, and that God always was going to come to. You know, it was something where I really questioned my choices for a long time because of the hiccups, and then finally God came in and was like, "Nope, I got you."
Was the
All good.
release the finish line or the beginning?
Well, that's it. It's all, you know, film is forever. Film is forever. That's the thing. Film is forever. Not only because when you capture it and then put it on what used to be celluloid, but now, you know, whether it's physical media or just a digital format, it's always going to be that. You're going to change, but the film is always going to be what the film is. Theater is always evolving because every show is different every night. But film is forever. And because of that also, you know, whether you're in the script form or whether it's 100 years later, it's still the same thing. You know, The Godfather will live on forever as that great American classic film. And the hope with For Profit is the same thing will occur, is that, yeah, we just release it, but maybe it is just the beginning. You know, the prayer is that, like It's a Wonderful Life, you watch it every year. The hope is that For Profit is going to be something that you continue to watch for years and years and show more generations.
And Cal Marshall, as a entrepreneur who also dabbles in a little bit of faith theater as well, how is the market responding? Is more youth more youth Christians or more youth faith-based things coming out? Is this always going to be old versus new guard type of thing? Is this the way it's always going to be?
Oh, this is a good question. I think I'm the wrong one to answer. 'cause
Oh
I have
no, you're the
so
perfect
many,
one. You're the
thoughts
perfect
about
one to
this.
answer.
Okay, this is going to get real dark real quick.
Hey, let's
okay?
go.
I think that's one of the reasons of death.
Mm.
Death is made so people can change guards.
Okay.
I think that a lot of times we have a lot of old things that may have worked for years, maybe hundreds of years, but there is always new blood, new thoughts, new premises, new ideas. And even with Mark, at this point, when he just said, I didn't even know that they said it was too funny. I'm surprised because I know so many people who say, if you want to make God laugh, tell me your plans.
Yeah.
So the fact that's even something that it's like, God
the
likes to
first
laugh.
joke.
You know, it's like, okay, so why wouldn't you want to add God to comedy? So
Yeah.
because people have that type of mentality, it shows you that whatever era they were in, they're in an era that no longer touches the generation that needs it. So once you are no longer able to touch the next generation, you probably need to let the next generation take it over and let them minister or talk or influence the next generation. And I think that that's not just a problem within the film industry, it's a problem within the music industry, and it's a problem within the church community, and it's a problem within America itself, including our governmental systems.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
we have a lot of
understand
people
that.
who have been doing their same jobs for 60 years, and it's like, just go home. Go with your family. Go find someone go with the people who love you. But people want to stay and make money just to be great somewhere else. So
But there have been people that have thrown down the ladder for all of us.
Yeah.
And we don't want to put an entire
Generation
group of people right in there. Who has been some of your largest supporters for people that are turning the crown over?
for
Do you
me
have
personally,
mentors?
yes.
Yeah. Do you have a mentor in the older guard?
I do. My mentors are amazing legends. I have one, Mickey Howard. She is Grammy Award winner, Billboard Award winner, amazing singer, vocalist, been worldwide, and #1 albums and everything.
Wonderful.
And in her career, she has been so benevolent and so loving to the younger generations that she builds and she literally tries to uplift and give you all the information you need to move forward and be the best version of you. And a lot of times because I also do music, within the music industry, I have found that a lot of artists who may not be comfortable sharing information, they usually, they aren't as free. And so I'm grateful to have found people like her and people, other people, even in film, from Mark to even for me, a really, really, really great person. And I'm bringing them back up again with Bert Belasco.
Yeah. Amen.
After I did For Profit, I actually started doing a podcast. And I recorded it called The Purple Couch Conversations, and it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Bert actually was one of the people who was like, "You can do it, man. Just go ahead. Just put a green screen. You can make it work. Just come up with a concept, come up with the shows, blah blah." blah. And it's
good.
like he was like, "You just saw a movie being made, man. You just saw a movie being made. You can make it. Come on, it's just a podcast." And so because of that, it really inspired. So that's what I'm saying. People like that, you don't necessarily have to be the world's biggest superstar to be a mentor to help people or help the next generation. You could be just like you and I. There's always someone who's looking to learn, always looking to grow. And all we have to do is just find those people. Within makeup, I do the same thing. There's some makeup artists who I absolutely love and adore. There are some younger makeup artists who I actually work with and go and help them every now and again when I do, because I'm like semi-retired from makeup. So it's like, makeup, it's like, oh, they're like, "You did a movie? I thought you were retired." I'm like, "It was a special movie." And now 4 years later, they're like, "Oh, I see what you were saying." I'm like, "It was a reason."
There you go.
I think, as far as the guards changing, that's something that, we have a lot of people who are great mentors. Not saying everyone needs to go home, but
No.
my mentors who I have been taught from and who I'm learning from still, most of them have said the same thing. I grew up with this person. We're both the same age. Why are they still taking opportunities from people who are 20 years younger? They need to go home.
Yeah. Well, as Bob Dylan said, if you can't lend your hand, get out of the way, right?
Amen.
Paraphrase, of
Yeah.
course. He's way better at it than I am. But Mark, when I asked that question, your face lit up too. Who do you have that has helped you get through this journey? This has kind of not necessarily blazed a trail, but at least said, you know what? Hey, I'm running out of breath. Let me give you a push in my last little bit here.
Yeah, I've had so many people who have helped in so many different ways. In as filmmakers, clergy have helped so much. I mean, so many people around the area, the pastors at even at the local United Methodist churches here in Schaumburg and Elgin have been so supportive in helping spread the word and getting the word out. You know, in general, I mean, I've had a lot of really great mentors. I think a lot of the people that I've looked to also, who I don't even know personally, I've just looked at what they've done when it comes to independent cinema, and I've taken it as a model, and I've said, okay, how did they do what they did? Why did they make those choices? And how can I emulate that? I mean, Christopher Nolan is a perfect example. I mean, he's making quite large movies now, but his first feature film was like a $10, $15, maybe $20,000 short film or feature film that he financed himself, that he wrote himself, that he shot himself, that he shot on black and white and staged the actors by windows so he didn't have to pay for lights. He was inspired himself by people like Richard Linklater and Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to make the movies he's making now, he had to do that. And I think a lot of people have taken that as like, oh, okay, well, I can just go out and make my own movie. But he made very specific
You
artistic.
can with this.
Yeah, well, now it's a little
Now
easier.
you can.
Yeah,
With
when he
this
was doing it
phone.
in the late '90s, you had to shoot on film,
Yeah.
and to make that happen, to make that work, to make those choices was a very difficult thing, and he had to learn all of those skills, and he put up the money himself, and because of that, like if you actually watch his first film, it's called Following. It's fine. I think it's very well done. I think it's structurally, it's very him. He jumps all over the place in time and all this stuff, and it's very, very much his voice. But it's not my favorite movie. It's certainly not my favorite movie. In fact, I think it's fine. It's solid, but he needed to make that in order to get to his second movie, which was Memento, which is arguably his best. I mean, I think that film is an absolute classic. It's one of my top 10. And so, you know, guys like that, Spike Lee too, you know, Spike Lee, his first movie, he financed himself, he shot himself, he acted in himself. He inspired a lot of those other guys in the 90s because he was doing it in the late 80s. I think his first movie came out in 88 or 89. And it was very low budget, you know, shot on film. You watch it now, it's actually kind of a little cringy in the sense of like the timing and all the stuff and the sound design and all that stuff. But he had to do that to find his voice, to get it out there, to start making movies. And then he just ratcheted up the production value as he went along because people would be like, oh, now I can respect you. You made your own feature film.
I went to a night with Kevin Smith, and he said almost that same thing where he maxed out all of his credit cards, even after Miramax or anybody else gave him the money.
Right.
He still had to go out and do it in the budget and everything else.
And it, you know, Kevin Smith. I want to say one more thing about Christopher Nolan. Yeah. I read a article where Christopher Nolan was talking about making his first feature film and who inspired him. He said in the article that yes, Richard Linklater, yes, Spike Lee, all these guys, but the number one person that inspired him was Kevin Smith. The reason why Christopher Nolan is who he is today is because he was inspired by Silent Bob.
There you go.
Wow. And that's the thing. You don't like you take inspiration from these guys, they take inspiration from other people, and you never know who is going to inspire more people to make these difficult choices of starting their first or feature film. But you would never think that somebody like Christopher Nolan was inspired by somebody like Kevin Smith, but that is what happened. And I love that story because you look at what Christopher Nolan's doing now and you look at what Kevin Smith is doing now, and there's a little difference in what they're doing, and yet they're of the same ilk.
Yep.
And I'm trying to do that myself.
I just want to say this. The one thing that I heard everything, and I want to just say from what you just said. That just shows that really we are all the initiators of change.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we have a idea of what we want to be, we can become exactly what we see.
Right.
The fact that Kevin Smith turned to Christopher Nolan, all these people inspire people,
Mhm.
but each person who was inspired had an internal choice, as in Damon,
Yes.
for profit,
Right. Exactly.
to go ahead
Yes.
and say, I want to do something. I want to
Yep.
be better. I want to be somebody greater. And they did that, including you.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah.
'Cause the first time I did makeup was in high school.
Okay.
Yeah. For a play.
And that's what inspired you to continue to go and move and change your life, I guess.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was always beauty. I
Okay.
love beauty. I grew up in beauty. I love beauty. Hair, makeup, that was always it. My first love in beauty was Moulin Rouge. That was the
Oh,
first film.
sure. Yeah.
That was the most beautiful makeup
Yeah.
and hair to me, and the outfits.
Mhm.
And then when you
Mm.
go into old school
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe
Right.
with diamonds. Oh my God, the movie Hot. Something like a hot Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, yeah.
So all those things. That's what I'm like. I always wanted. I'm like, oh, I want to
yeah.
live like that. Like I want to live like that. And so to do hair and makeup, you get to live like that on set because that's where everyone looks like that all the time.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Where can we find you, Cal Marshall?
You can find me on callive.com. You can find me in Barnes and Noble underneath USAS, Indie Artists of the World. That's a book. I have some of the cast members in the book as well that I released last year, and it has photos of independent artists from Spike Lee down to Takia Crystal Kima
Wow.
and other artists, over 100 artists throughout the world. It's released every 3 years, and so I'm getting ready to do the next series next year, and we are just releasing it and letting it out there. And of
Wonderful.
course, people can get a signed copy at callive.com, and that's
That's
you can
great.
Find me.
And then where can we find For Profit, sir?
forprofitfilm.com. That's profit like Moses with PH, forprofitfilm.com. Check out the trailer. Check out your local listings. Chicagoland, Phoenix, Southern California, Charleston, Tennessee. But yeah, right here in Elgin as well. Check it out, forprofitfilm.com. We got 3 more days, including today, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We got showtimes. Get out there. Do not miss it now. Get out to the theaters. Get your tickets. Go experience the prophecy.
This is the time to go see it. Go ahead.
And just in case you are looking everywhere to find it, the other great place to find it is Google.
Sure, just
Google.
Google
You
it up.
can remember For Profit.
Yeah.
Google For Profit.
It's very exciting to just be able to Google my movie right now and
It
see
will tell you all
the
theaters,
episodes.
right? Like in case
true.
you're like, I'm not in Elgin. I'm not in Barrington. Where can I go? Go on Google. It will tell you the closest
Go to
one.
Google.
Yep.
You're nailing that SEO, and we appreciate you all coming in today. This has been Out to Lunch, WRMN. Go see For Profit Film. That is forprofitfilm.com. And also check out callive.com. That's with a K. We'll see you tomorrow. Up next, Open Book with the Gail Borden Library. We'll be right back after these.
If you are 50 years and older, you are welcome to join Elgin State Bank's sponsored movie days at Elgin Marcus Theater. It will always be on the second Thursday of each month.